games of the nation, an NCAA doubleheader. First, the top two offensive teams battle it out as #1 ranked and undefeated Oklahoma takes on 4th ranked Nebraska, which last week rushed and passed for almost 800 yards in one game. Then, headlining regional action, Bear Bryant's 3rd ranked Alabama tackles top-ranked LSU in a crucial Southeastern Conference game. Exciting Heisman Trophy candidate Charles Alexander of LSU scored 3 touchdowns last week. Check local listings Saturday.
Tough ball game here at Baltimore Memorial Stadium. The halftime score, Washington 10, Baltimore 7. Quickly, here's how the scoring went. Washington opened up with a Moseley 44-yard field goal, 3-0. Then Ricky Thompson took a 31-yard pass from Billy Kilmer. Moseley converted 10-0. But immediately, Bert Jones engineered a long drive, winding up with a 19-yard pass to Reese McCall, the tight end from Auburn, and Linhart converted. That's the score, 10-7. Now, our halftime highlights are being brought to you by Commercial Credit, a financial service of Control Data Corporation. We find ways to help. Now let's turn our attention to yesterday's NFL highlights, beginning with Seattle at Chicago, Soldier Field. Pick up with action in the second quarter. The Seahawks leading 7-3, 37 seconds remaining in the half. And number 10, the Southpaw quarterback, Jim Zorn, going to work. Deep downfield to number 80, Steve Largent, who's alone and who gathers it in right there for the touchdown, 14-3 Seattle. In the third quarter, Seattle leading 21-9. The Bears ball 3rd and 8 at the Seahawk 20. Mike Phipps in there in place of Avellini. Hits Roland Harper. Roland Harper bursts up the middle after receiving it. In for the touchdown. That made it 21-16 Seattle. On the very next series, Seattle's ball 1st and 10 on their own 27. And that's when the Seahawks go to work again. The handoffs on to Sherman Smith. Look at his stats on the day. What blocking! The Bears go down as if cut by a scythe, and Sherman Smith along the right sideline all the way downfield, nudged out of bounds finally by 24. Virgil Livers on the 6th. That set up a touchdown, 28-16 Seattle. Then this 7-yard bolt by Walter Payton just in. 28-22. Seattle went on to win it 31-29. The Seahawks not an expansion team. Green Bay at Philadelphia, Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Second quarter action, 3-0 Green Bay. Green Bay punting from deep in their own territory. Fumbled by David Beverly. He tries to kick the phantom ball, doesn't. And then the ball squirts away. It's finally picked up by number 65, Mike Douglas, on the 2-yard line for the Eagles. 2 plays later, it was still 2nd and goal at the 2. And John Schara, remember him from UCLA? Back with the ball, running right. A little too eager right there. He almost got hit, but he got in and scored. Philadelphia won it 10-3 over the Green Bay Packers. In the big game of the day, Dallas at Miami, the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida, the first quarter, 0-0. Miami ball, 2nd and 7 from their own 37. Number 12, Greasy, the pinpoint passer. To 24, Delvin Williams. He slipped 2 tacklers. He's done that before. This is the leading rusher in the National Football League. Now on the receiving end. He goes all the way down to the 11-yard line. That set up a Norm Bluash touchdown, 7-0. Still 7-0. Miami ball, 2nd and 11 from the Dallas 16. Again, Greasy, this time to the tall tight end, Andre Tillman. Hit by 3 men, but held on to the football for a 15-yard gain. That set up a Delvin Williams touchdown, 14-0 Miami. Third quarter action, Miami leading 20-3. Dallas ball, 2nd and 10 from their own 36. Staubach throwing deep downfield for the brilliant receiver from Stanford, and you saw the extension of the body in the hands. A great catch. That set up a Raphael Septien field goal. The pass good for a 53-yard gain. 20-6 Miami. Later in the third quarter, 20-9 Miami. 20-6 Miami. Later in the third quarter, 20-9 Miami. Miami ball, 1st and 10 at their own 31. Greasy hits Nat Moore. Watch him. He evades Mark Washington. He evades Cliff Harris. And now the great receiver has nothing but daylight all the way touchdown, but no. Holding called on the play, and Miami had to take it all the way back. Fourth quarter, 23-9 Miami. Staubach driving the Cowboys late in the game. And this, the quick shot to Billy Joe Dupree, and a touchdown. But Miami held on to win, as I said, the big game of the day, 23-16 over Dallas.
What does it take to run a business these days? To face unexpected problems and the disappointments. Competition from the big guys. It takes money to be ready for that big opportunity when it finally arrives. And Commercial Credit can respond to that need fast with a business loan, cash, to sustain your business. At Commercial Credit, we find ways to help.
That's head coach John McKay of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in a sense back home, the former head coach of USC. And with 56 seconds remaining, trailing 23-16 to LA, that's Mike Ray in there because Doug Williams suffered a fractured jaw. Throwing downfield to the coach's son, J.K. McKay, touchdown. The score tied 23 all. Now 33 seconds remaining. Rams ball, 1st and 10, their own 38. Hayden back, excellent protection. Finds the former free agent, Willie Miller. Good catch. He's bumped out of bounds, but a big gain, 33 yards. And it's first down on the Tampa Bay 29-yard line. Hayden poised as he was not last Monday night. Hands off to McCutcheon. Excellent blocking. Wide open hole. 18-yard gain down to the 11-yard line. Just 2 plays later, 6 seconds remaining. 2nd and 9 at the 10-yard line. Field goal attempt. Frank Corral, the arms up flung. Good. The Rams win the game 26-23. This is the Rams team that you'll see against the 9-1 Steelers in the special Sunday edition. This Sunday night, NFL football. The New York Jets at Denver, Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado, the Bronx. Virtually invincible there. First quarter action, the score 0-0. Penrose hands off to Keyworth. He bolts in from 5 yards out easily. Denver with a 7-0 lead. Later in the first quarter, still 7-0 Denver. The Jets had the ball 1st and 10 on their own 12. Kevin Long, number 33, with the ball. Running left, hit. The ball squirts out of his arms, pushed forward, and then picked up by 36. Bill Thompson, touchdown, 14-0 Denver. Denver rolled to a 28-7 lead. Middle of the second quarter, but the Jets wouldn't knuckle under. Jets ball, 3rd and goal at the Denver 4. Matt Robinson, 17, looking for a receiver. All the time in the world. Then to the rookie, Derek Gaffney, and that made it 28-14. The Jets close to 28-24 in the fourth quarter. And then with the ball 1st and 10 from their own 25. Matt Robinson goes to the bomb. Perfect throw to the speedster from California, Wesley Walker. Touchdown. The Jets took a 31-28 lead. Held on to win when Turner missed a late field goal attempt. What an upset.
Home sweet home. It's always been a place of shelter and refuge. Home, a place of protection. Protection from the storms of our environment and existence. Protection that means even more today. If you have a financial need, the equity in your home can help. And Commercial Credit through a second mortgage can provide the money you may need for any purpose. At Commercial Credit, we find ways to help.
Halftime activities winding down. The score, Washington 10, Baltimore 7. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Buick, who invites you to see your dealer soon and test drive one of the new 79 Buicks. It's a treat you really owe yourself. After all, life is to enjoy. We'll be ready for the second half kickoff after word from our local stations. Once again, Washington 10, Baltimore 7. Stay with us.
Wednesday, Charlie's Angels swing with the singles aboard a luxury liner.
Would you like to see my buried treasure? Oh.
But the party's a killer's trap. Then, a mysterious plane crash and a well-filled bikini add up to more trouble for Dan Tana in Vegas.
Watch Wednesday. Coca-Cola of Miami presents News Brief.
Home mortgage interest rates top 10% and might go higher, and we have tips on handling tomorrow's ballot on Newswatch right after the game.
Hey, Jack, the sun's gonna shine all day. It's time for a Coke. It ain't no joke.
you pick an airline by the food it serves, you'll have a hard time deciding. All airline food is pretty much the same. Eastern Airlines has to do more than serve good food. Reservations has to answer the phone politely. Ground crews hustle faster. Flight attendants do even more to take care of you. And we're doing it. For the second year in a row, we've flown almost 2 million more passengers than the year before. There are other airlines you could fly besides Eastern. That's why we have to earn our wings every day.
See The Gong Show weekdays at 4 on 10.
We're back. My guest is Mr. Lou Harris, the famed pollster who brought the computer to poll taking of ABC News. He'll be part of our extensive election coverage on ABC tomorrow night beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Quickly for the viewers, Lou, will you describe what you'll be doing on the telecast?
Howard, our job will be to find the meaning, the why, in this election. We'll be analyzing the results all night long, Lynn Scher and I, and we're going to say why, what lies back of the outcome tomorrow night.
You find an analogy in our presidential year elections to sports, don't you? Explain why.
That's right, Howard. Well, every other year we have off-year elections, and the Republicans start out like the Baltimore Colts here, 3 and 6 behind, and the Democrats are like the Redskins, 7 and 2 up. The Republicans always find themselves rebuilding in the off year. Now, the question tomorrow night is not will the Republicans win, but how much will they lose by? If they lose by a little, they win. If they lose by a lot, they're in deep trouble and their franchise is near to loss.
The two major national issues affecting voters locally are what?
Inflation, taxes, and government spending. They're pocketbook issues all the way.
You'll be in New York with Frank Reynolds, our anchorman, won't you?
Frank will be in New York, Max Robinson in Chicago. They'll be telling us what's happening. Barbara Walters will be interviewing people in her own inimitable way. Howard Smith will be in Washington.
Very good. And what you'll be seeing, done in the ABC News way, are political close-ups of winners all over the country, done perhaps in the manner of our famed up-close and personal looks at the principal sports figures in these United States. Under any circumstances, Lou, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your coverage tomorrow night.
Thank you, Howard. Great to be here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lou Harris of ABC News. Now let's go back to the Giffer.
Thank you, Howard, and both teams are back out on the field. Again, the score, Washington 10, the Baltimore Colts 7. A good, hard-hitting football game, and you have to wonder if maybe this man's counterpart, Bert Jones, is not still suffering from the effects of a shoulder separation. I'm sure he would not be out there if there could be any further damage just by throwing the football. And this man, well, what can you say? He came up in 1961, a #1 draft pick for the 49ers. Serious car accident, cost him the season of '63. Again in '65, went to New Orleans, '67, Redskins, and he's just been around a while, 16 years. And Bert Jones, of course, the youthful member of these Baltimore Colts, separated his shoulder in the final preseason game some 9 weeks ago against Detroit, and has only played 1 quarter since.
Playing hurt tonight. There can be no question about it. He's winced throughout the night once he clutched his shoulder, but playing with a lot of courage and determination. And because of his exceptional character and excellence, he has inspired the Colts. Thus, we have a game in which the Colts are very much alive, trailing only by 3 points, and were dominant during the latter part of the second quarter.
I don't know that I have seen very many games where total pass completions for both teams was 5. 3 for Baltimore, 2 for Washington, and yet 2 touchdowns have come out of those 5 completions.
Superb defense.
Superb defense, that's what they say.
Mark Moseley will kick off for the Redskins. Marshall Johnson has dropped deep. Joe Washington. They share something in common. Both has returned an NFL touchdown on a kickoff, or rather a kickoff for a touchdown. Washington this year, Marshall Johnson last year. Couple of lightning-like threats. Moseley with a 44-yard field goal effort. That's the margin. The Redskins lead the Baltimore Colts, and the second half gets underway. A floating kick. Washington takes it at the 5. Slips, and he's cut immediately as a flag goes down at the 25-yard line. Washington down at the 18-yard line. Don Harris was there to cover. But again, a flag is down at the 25. A lot of emotion in this game tonight. You saw it from the very beginning as the personal foul clipping is indicated against the Baltimore Colts.
That's a good point, Frank, because we have seen some of the presumably more powerful teams playing without much emotion this year. In fact, that's one charge Coach Landry has leveled at his Cowboys. There are the stats for the first half, and you can see how even they are in rushing. In passing, the figures are rather dismal. A paucity of yardage. Total yardage only a slight edge, and time of possession, Baltimore with a slight edge, but basically meaningless. Very even game.
Reese McCall, the guilty Baltimore Colt. The Colts have the ball. 1st and 10, their own 9-yard line. Roosevelt leaks, pounds into the right side, gets out over the 10, close to the 11-yard line.
This is how the game opened up, only it was just reversed. Washington wound up back down there. Didn't seem like they were going to get out, but they finally did. Now it's Baltimore's turn.
Leaks managed 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The ball at the 12-yard line. Dowdy, 35. Carr, 81. Wide receivers. Mac Alston is the tight end, 83. Joe Washington, 20. Roosevelt Leaks, 48. Those are setbacks.
Well, there got to be some flags.
Upended as a flag goes down.
They tried to
saw
time
movement in there.
Yep. That was Jake Scott all the way back there, wasn't it?
Number 13.
I think it was. They tried to time it, of course, just to coincide with that quarterback's count. I think it's one of the things that most quarterbacks fall into. It's kind of a hidden trap, but they get into the same rhythm. They don't change up that rhythm very much. And that defense does anticipate it quite a bit. So you've lost your advantage of knowing the snap count.
Number 80 and number 71 of the defense offside.
The 2 defensive ends, Coy Bacon and Carl Lorch, offside. Lorch 71, Bacon 80. Dyron Talbert stays in there, 72. Dave Butts, the other tackle for Washington. McClinton and Brad Dusick and Chris Hamburger, the linebackers for the Skins. 2nd down and 2. Washington. And down goes Washington. Gerard Williams up there defensively. Gerard Williams, part of the secondary that consists, of course, of Ken Houston, Jake Scott, and Joe Lavender.
Washington behind closed doors.
I knew you would do it.
Washington against Washington.
Loss of a yard. Ball at the 16-yard line. A little more than 3 yards for the 1st down. Carr goes to the left. Dowdy to the right. Roosevelt Leaks has the 1st down, booming out over the 20, close to the 23. Ken Houston made the stop, but Baltimore gets the 1st down.
He's punching out some valuable short yardage tonight, picking up the extra yard here and there.
Coming right through the middle. Just let him roll, let him ramble. Roosevelt.
A great collegiate career this young man had.
Again, it's Mendenhall, Huff, and Pratt.
The University of Texas. Close to 3,000 yards for Leaks. Joe Washington tries to go to the outside. That's a tough move against Chris Hamburger and Brad Dusick.
Yeah, somebody had his leg on the inside. I guess that was Dusick. He was trying to give a move to the outside and says they wouldn't let go. Oh, Chris.
Been around, too. 14 years. Came up an 18th round draft pick. Missed more games last year with an injury than he had missed in the entire 12 preceding that. Marchabroda looking on.
Marchabroda, who used to work at Washington for George Allen.
As a head coach, he's never been less than a division champion. 3 years, 3 division titles for Baltimore. Second and long, going for Carr. Look out.
Look high.
Don't score. Cranberger will never catch Carr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, Bert's happy about that one. Boy, he should be. It was right on the money. Hanging it on the line. Had to go, what, 40 yards, 45 yards?
It did, and you know, Joe Lavender had good position, and he just drilled it in there. A 78-yard touchdown pass from Bert Jones. to Roger Carr. Jones' second touchdown pass of the night.
I'll tell you, this is what you're that's putting in the peach basket. Got good protection and zoom. Man, now you talk about one spiraling. That one didn't flip at all. And you're right, Frank. Lavender was in there in pretty good shape. The ball had to be right where it was. And so long.
Matter of fact, I thought Lavender might have blocked Carr's vision. Carr himself, who was plagued off season by injuries and was a slow starter this year, now coming into his own. But he becomes a valuable deep receiver only when Jones is in there. When Jones is out, you don't see Carr catching the long ones. The others can't throw.
Baltimore with the lead for the first time tonight. Linhart puts it through, and Baltimore has a 14-10 lead. And there's Roger Carr, who's had so many of those long touchdown passes, that great speed. We'll be returning in just a moment.
Leave some time for fun and happy smiles, things that make your life worthwhile. Make it Buick. After all, life is to enjoy.
The new 1979 Buick LeSabre, filled with room, comfort, value, and good times. We didn't make LeSabre a celebrated family car. Families did.
After all, life is to enjoy.
There's really nothing quite like a Buick.
Man has always dreamed of flying to escape from earthly cares. Today, anyone can fly with no strings attached to the Orient or anywhere else in the world on a Boeing 747.
Come fly, come fly, come fly.
The world's favorite way to fly.
Larry Holmes makes his first title defense since his spectacular victory over Ken Norton. The WBC World Heavyweight Championship Friday night on ABC.
A 78-yard strike. Bert Jones to Carr, and all of a sudden Baltimore has the lead in this game. Redskins looking for a victory that would extend their lead over the Dallas Cowboys to 2 games. Toni Linhart set to kick. Deep is Tony Green for Washington.
Not respecting Linhart's foot. They're back up almost to the 10-yard line. Let's see what he does with it.
And he drives Green back to the 2.
Oh, boy.
And Tony Green with a nifty return moves out to the 26, where it'll be 1st and 10 Washington. Sanders, Shiver made the stop.
There's Jack Pardee. If I know anything about that man, he will probably look at Kilmer during this series of downs and thinking in the back of his mind, maybe he wants to go back to Theismann. Billy had 2 interceptions in the first half. He did have the 1 completion for a touchdown to Ricky Thompson. But Pardee may want more mobility back there if Billy doesn't produce, and soon.
Kilmer has Thomas 22, Riggins 44 in setbacks. Hands off, Riggins. Riggins breaks to the outside, as he has been doing all night, for a pickup of 7.
Oh my, he hits.
You got to give old Lyle Blackwood some credit. He came up there and knew that he was giving away quite a bit, but most of those defensive backs feel that way anyway. They're usually fairly small. He met him head on. Didn't necessarily win, but he did his job. He got him out of bounds, didn't he? 44 against 44.
They mark it at the 32, so it'll be 2nd down and 4. Receivers are Ricky Thompson, 83, a former Baltimore Colt. John McDaniel, 86, and this is John Riggins once again.
Good move.
Piled up short of the 1st down and short of the 35-yard line. Joe Herman over there for the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
Quick look at Mr. Theismann, of whom we were just speaking. Kim McPullen.
Dutton did a good job that time, Frank, on the last play. He came down and closed it out pretty good, too. They're getting some pretty good play there. You got to... Is that Barnes that's hurt, I believe?
Mike Barnes being assisted off the field, and that will bring in Dave Rowe.
And that's exactly why they got Dave Rowe in the event of such an injury. Most of you know Dave Rowe, a much-traveled veteran who was a key figure in the defense of the Oakland Raiders for several years. Everybody wondered how he had suddenly gotten so great after years of being knocked around.
3rd and 2. Dave Rowe wears number 74. Mike Thomas finds the opening and cuts it back against the grain, and look out.
Oh, boy.
And a saving tackle was by Norm Thompson at the 40-yard line of the Baltimore Colts.
As I said, his ankle is better.
It was a good pull-out block by Dan Nugent, that right guard. Nugent was the one actually that was blocked. You see 62 come out. He go out in front. Kicked out right there. He just didn't have that pursuit coming down that line. Somewhere the linebackers missed it. Good move by Thomas to go back against the grain, pick up a nice gain.
Meanwhile, Fred Cook, number 72 of Baltimore, has just limped off the field.
Mike Ozdowski comes in his place, number 71. First and 10 from the 43-yard line.
Oh, they'll try that same play again.
Yep. Not that time.
Smothered by number 71, Mike Ozdowski, who has been a brilliant member of the special teams unit for Baltimore. Comes in spot situations behind Dutton. He plays all along that line. He prefers the defensive end. Ozdowski. Now Mike Thomas slow getting up. On his feet, back to the huddle. Second down at 11 following a loss of a yard. A sellout crowd here in Baltimore. And a very unfriendly rivalry between Baltimore and the Washington Redskins. Thompson right. Riggins.
Oh, good
move and a real fine tackle. Moving in there was Darrell Luce, number 58.
Out of Baylor.
That was a good one-on-one tackle against the big man.
Stepped in there and did his job, didn't he?
Right.
A loss back to the 44-yard line. It's going to be third down and 12. Less than 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Baltimore struck quickly. They lead now 14-10. 78-yard touchdown pass. Jones to Carr. Kilmer, a man open over the middle. 83, Ricky Thompson, and Luce comes up with it.
I think he's going to...
ruling incomplete.
Ruled it incomplete.
That was a well-thrown ball into a spot. Ricky was coming across the middle. Hard to hang on to. He got hit about the same time. One of the better passes that Billy's thrown tonight.
Look at it again. It was a great effort on the part of Ricky Thompson. He just had to dive for it. Could not get the handle. Juggling all the way.
There's Blackwood right there, number 44, coming up to make a move.
Luce came up with it, but it's ruled incomplete. Mike Bragg on to punt for Washington. Deep is Marshall Johnson, standing at his 10-yard line.